and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome on into the Wednesday edition of Helping Seniors of Brevard. I'm John Harper. A very special broadcast today coming your way. Let's get right into it as we introduce to you the host of Helping Seniors of Brevard and the executive director as well. Here is none other than Kerry Fink.
Thank you, John Harper. And this is like a historical first, at least as I can think of in terms of the world of helping seniors of Brevard. We have talked to you live, well, not live, but we pre-recorded some segments on the MSC ships when we were out with the Helping Seniors Travel Club. But this morning, we are on location. And we are here at the Melbourne Auditorium and just having a great time because it is Mega Senior Expo Day. And this goes on until 1 p.m. So even as you're listening to this, there's still time for you to come on down and join us at the Melbourne Auditorium. John, there's a lot of people out here today.
It's an exciting afternoon, a very exciting afternoon, Kerry, and nice to see so many people coming out here and enjoying this event, taking in all the information that is being presented out here, so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, Nina Varuso, who is Platinum Events Group, she's the one that puts on all these wonderful senior expos around the county. I think just a few weeks ago we were in Barefoot Bay, celebrating with folks down there. And today she's got a really cool theme. It's the Aloha theme. I see them handing out little floral lays and things as people are coming in. They're registering for door prizes. It's going on 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. here at the Melbourne Auditorium. It's free parking, free admission, luau themed goodies. They've got so many great vendors. We're going to talk about that, about the information that you're going to be able. It's fun. But the real point of this is getting information in the hands of seniors that makes a difference. And so there's coffee, popcorn, snack stations, door prize winner every 10 minutes. But the real thing, as you know, if you followed Helping Seniors in the radio show for any period of time, we're about getting information and resources in the hands of seniors so that they can do the absolute best on their own aging plan. Our founder and president, Joe Steckler, often talks about that. Joe, as you remember, is the guy who founded the Brevard Alzheimer's Foundation, got the Joe's Clubs rolling, and then literally back in 2011, he founded Helping Seniors of Brevard. So for now 12 years, we've run the County Senior Information Helpline. It's that free call to 321-473-7770. Last year, that line handled 5,000, I think it was 374, if I'm not misquoting, calls from seniors and their families looking for help. And that's one of the reasons why we get so involved in everything outbound. We call it the outbound reach, where we're trying to do the media, the radio, the TV, the print that you see in the center when you pick up your copy of Senior Scene magazine. You'll find that we call it the yellow pages. It's those 12 pages, center section that has all the information about things that will help you on your aging plan. What is an aging plan, you might ask? Well, we say you live in Florida, so we understand a hurricane plan. The hurricane plan means you do not want a hurricane, but you're going to be prepared for anything that comes your way. It's the same with the aging plan. So we often euphemistically call it getting your ducks in a row. And so part of what we're after when we come out to senior information expos like this, well, like I said, it's a big party, it's festive, but at the core of it is getting information in the hands of people. And so today on the radio show, we're going to be talking with a number of the folks that are out here. One of the folks that is here comes from one of our most favorite organizations. They've been helping us in the Helping Seniors work almost since the day that Joe Steckler founded the organization. We're talking about one of the premier assisted living facilities, memory care facilities in our area, literally a hop, skip, and a jump across the street from the Melbourne Auditorium. You could come here, and then you could go like right across the street and take a tour. We have the pleasure of visiting with Hollie Fincher, who's the director of sales and marketing. She was kind enough to take a break from the busy day, run across the street, and share some time with us. How are you today?
Hi, Kerry. I'm great. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Oh, it's good. So this is really like an impressive thing to see all these people out getting lots of good information that's really going to help them on their aging plan. And talk a little bit about Hibiscus Court, you've got, we were just talking, you have such a fascinating background because you understand everything from a physical therapy perspective. So when you're meeting with clients and their families, you have a level of understanding of the needs and situations that come up that I guess a lot of people might not have without that background. But then you also have one of the most premier facilities in the area that is really known as proximity to great medical care. You guys, I always laugh because I love to follow Hibiscus Court on Facebook because you guys are always having parties, and it looks like the fun place to be.
Absolutely. So starting again next Wednesday, we'll have our Wind Down Wednesday. Come join us from 4 to 6. Get to know our community. See if we're a good fit for you. We've been in the business for just over 25 years helping seniors. We are literally located diagonally across from Holmes Regional, right across from the Melbourne Auditorium. We have the Melbourne Library that we take our residents to on a regular basis. So we have anybody who's on the south side of the building gets great views of the water with the fountain out there. So it's actually a really great community to come check out.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. We have this corollary to this thing. We call it getting your ducks in a row, which is the idea about having people make an aging plan. But the corollary that we've learned as we've been talking about this now for over a year as our theme for the organization is that there's also this thing that's called don't try it on your own. So like we talk about this a lot when it comes to maybe doing your paperwork that you need, like, advanced directives or estate planning and things like that. We've heard from so many like elder law attorneys that are connected with helping seniors. They say they hate it when somebody walks in with a homegrown piece of paper because they're actually glad that they're seeing them before there's a problem because they can fix some mistakes, because a lot of times they'll come in with a paper after there's a problem and then there's no simple way to fix it because it just wasn't done right. So by taking advantage of experts when you're in the middle of a situation that may be new to you but not new to them, and I think that's what I wanted to ask you about with Hibiscus Court. A lot of us, we don't really understand how far the concept of assisted living has come. We oftentimes just think, forgive me for saying it this way, old folks home. We don't really understand how vibrant and life-giving a community like this can be. Talk a little bit about how far that's all come and how you guys really work with that at Hibiscus Court.
Absolutely, Kerry. So we offer independent living, assisted living, and memory care. So you can stay with our community for your entire stay. You don't have to transition into skilled nursing or long-term care, which we are very proud to offer. We are more home-like settings. We have numerous, one of the best things about our community is that it's fully secured. So even as your journey, if you end up with any memory issues or concerns or anything else, and you want to make sure your loved one's fully protected, our facility is fully secured. So you are welcome to have that security as well. We are offering a great promotion right now for the end of March. It's $500 off per month, and our move-in fee has been reduced in half.
Wow.
So we are really looking forward to people coming in, getting to see who we are, and working with you guys in the community so you know what to expect as you age through your journey.
Yeah, it seems like one of the advantages of what you offer at Hibiscus Court is that that comfort of the fact that you wouldn't necessarily have to move in case something was going farther on the memory side, that you're really there. And again, like we talked about, proximity to doctors and medical care, you are so right there in the middle of the whole Melbourne medical community there.
Right, and I think some of the best programs we have is helping caregivers as well. Anyone who's a caregiver taking care of mom and dad, burnout is a real thing.
Right.
We offer our respite care. If you want to go on vacation for a week, you want to go on a backpack tour to Europe.
Right.
We take your loved one in. We give them our 24-hour care, access to all of our caregivers, our nurses. They're allowed to do all of our events and programs. They have all their meals provided. When you get back in town, come pick them up. Hopefully you had enough of a break and you guys can continue on that way.
What you're talking about now is such an important part of this because we often have talked many times along the way. So first of all, again, if you're new to this, there's a great wealth of resources at helpingseniorsofbrevard.org. That's the Helping Seniors website. As far as we go talk about radio shows, TV shows, we make sure everything is archived not only on the Helping Seniors website page, but you'll also find all the videos and radio shows there on our YouTube page, Helping Seniors of Brevard, Facebook page, Helping Seniors of Brevard, and even like the radio show that we're talking about right now is a podcast. So it'll be out in a day or so every place that you get podcasts on Amazon or Apple iTunes or wherever. You'll find it. Just look for Helping Seniors Radio. But the point that I wanted to get to was that when you're on this kind of a journey and you're looking for the help that you need, again, most of us don't really understand how far things have progressed in terms of the kind of quality care and fun. You know, we've talked about how people sometimes will say, oh, I want to age in place. I'm happy, I'm in my home, but then all they do the whole day is sit there and watch the TV. And so you might make a question about quality of life. And particularly the other side of the coin is if you're the caregiver for the person who's sitting home all day watching TV. I think that's why Joe, back in his Brevard Alzheimer's days, wanted to establish those daycare facilities that they named after him, called Joe's Clubs. But more importantly, I've read all these statistics that talk about how seniors, in particular, they can get really burned out caring for their significant other, their loved one. And if they don't take care of themselves, they may be gone before the loved one's gone, and then that loved one is really in a boatload of trouble.
Right. Definitely having a plan is key. Making sure if you are your loved one's caregiver that you have a plan if something happens to you. A lot of people don't make those backup plans, and then something happens to you, and your loved ones are left with no help or support.
Yeah. Because I was going to ask this question. I think... when you get on an airplane and before they take off, they give you this whole litany about, oxygen mask. And they always say, put the oxygen mask on yourself before assisting the one next to you, because if you pass out, you can't help the person next to you. And I was thinking about how appropriate it is when you were talking about the respite care possibilities. And to me, it would seem like it gives you a lot of different options, right? Because, number one, it gives you a break, but it also lets you see how your loved one is responding. Because I've seen, what I wanted to come back to that first point, was seeing people who just sat at home watching TV all day, almost lifeless, and then you get them in a vibrant community, and all of a sudden they've got friends, they got social activity. Talk about that.
Absolutely. So the state requires us to provide 2 programs 6 days a week, and we go far above and beyond that. We have 5 to 6 programs a day, activities, events. We want to keep everybody engaged. Some go to more than others. Some are a little more extroverted or introverted, and that's fine. They can be who they feel they want to be. Definitely enjoy making sure they're engaged, make sure they don't get their nights and days mixed up, which is a real thing that makes life very complicated if you do.
So how does somebody, if they want to get information about, I know you guys have a great website, but if they want to get more information and really get kind of familiar with what's going on out there, how do they get in touch with you?
So they can call me anytime, 321-951-1050. You can go to our Facebook page. You can message us through there. You can email us. We have tons of resources. And if you come to our community and you sit down and talk with me, you tell me all your ins and outs and everything that your loved one would want, and we're not maybe the quite fit, I will definitely set you up with who may be so that your loved one is going into a community where they would succeed.
See, that's one of the things that I just love about the way the Helping Seniors community works together for the good of the seniors. And that is exactly the point, is that what we found is the people that we work together with are really folks that care first and foremost about the value of seniors and making sure that we're doing the right things for them. Come on in the broadcast booth. We are here, again, I want to remind you, we are live, and come on in. We are live. And
no, Kerry, I got to go back to manning the booth, but I got Jerry Hadlock here.
All right.
All right.
All right. Well, we're gonna kind of like, they call it in the Navy, they go like hot bunking, right? You got to switch. So we're here live and on location at the Melbourne Auditorium. Thank you, Hollie Fincher from Hibiscus Court, and we'll talk to you some more as we go along.
Thank you, Kerry.
All right. Thanks, Hollie. And Nancy, that was the voice of Nancy Deerdorf cutting into the airwaves here because she's manning the Helping Seniors table right here at the Melbourne Auditorium. Again, we're here for the Mega Senior Expo. It's happening right here at the Melbourne Auditorium until 1 p.m. today. So as you're hearing this, there is plenty of time for you to come on by. And we have another great friend of the Helping Seniors organization. His name is Jerry Hadlock Jr. We were just talking with Hollie about the value of having experts as you're making your aging plan. And you're just that kind of a person too, Jerry, because you are a Medicare expert, and so you're used to sitting down with seniors and their families and trying to navigate so that they're getting the best coverage that works well for them in a situation.
That is true. That's all I do. Been doing it since 2009.
I was saying at the top part of the show that we were talking so much about the value of getting expert help. Like, don't try this on your own.
No.
And so often people are trying to sift through a bunch of mail, or maybe they saw an ad on TV or a magazine, or somebody said, call us and check your zip code and see if you can get extra benefits. Exactly. And we've done radio shows together, Jerry, where you've talked about how much trouble somebody can get into, because it's like that a little knowledge could be a dangerous thing.
That's
where
true.
Sitting down with you you have access to everything and can really help navigate to a best plan.
That is correct. So I've met with people that are more focused on dental, vision, and hearing that some of those plans have, and maybe that's not what they need. Maybe they need more on the medical side, like a supplement plan K, where they can go to a doctor anywhere in the county, Health First, parish, you name it. They can go anywhere in the country. They can go to Shands, they can go to Mayo, they can go to MD Anderson, or maybe they're focused on that dental, vision, and hearing. There are plans for that also. Both.
So when somebody is confronted, like, I know there's this big thing called the annual open enrollment period. I call it the time of year when your mailbox just gets stuffed with all these offers and everything is great. You need to sign up with us, and your TV isn't bombarded by somebody that you really like seeing on TV and they're telling you got to call this 800 number.
Exactly.
And the pressure is really high on a senior trying to navigate. And we've had this conversation. Even if you were happy with your plan this year, you can't assume that everything is golden for the next year, because all those things like formulary about your prescriptions change. Talk about why the importance of getting with somebody local here in Brevard about that.
I've had it on a number of occasions. They'll have a plan going into annual enrollment. Things can change, including the formulary. So maybe one medication that was covered last year is not going to be covered going into next year, but they don't realize that.
Right.
And then once it's gone, once you go past December the 7th, if that's the plan you stay on, now you're going to have a little difficulty getting the same medication. So I've had that be a really big issue at times. So we got to just check the formularies, check the doctors, and make sure they're still taking the plan that you're on for even going into next year.
Jerry, there's another part to this too, right? Because if you're calling one of those 800 numbers and you're talking to somebody, I'm just making this up, but they're up in Des Moines, Iowa.
Right.
And they're trying to tell you, oh yeah, there's a doctor for you right over there in Titusville, but you live in downtown Melbourne.
Yep.
They're looking at it on, probably a Google map or something like that. And it probably looks reasonable to them, but they don't understand the traffic patterns. They don't understand beachside versus landside. All these things that as a person who's here in the community.
Yes, I was born and raised here. I was born at the first hospital on US 1 back in 1964.
Wow.
So I've been here a long time. But I've had that exact thing come up. They don't understand, Holmes Regional versus, Stewart Medical or Melbourne Regional. And then they just almost assume, oh, yeah, you can go on down there. And they can't. Yeah. And I've had that become an issue, too.
So Jerry, if somebody, this is a time of year where I don't know which part of the year we're in. Is it still that you have an option to make some changes if you need to?
You do. You've got to the end of this month. They call that OEP. And now there's also another way to get into a plan because of the storms that came through a while back, and that goes to right around the end of April.
Okay.
So there's a couple ways to make changes if you needed to.
So if somebody wants to get in touch with you and talk with you, well, first of all, we're out here today until 1 p.m. at the Melbourne Auditorium. Again, this is Nina Varusso's excellent Mega Senior Expo. It's Aloha themed. They've been handing out little floral leis and things like that. It's very festive, but the main thing is getting information in the hands of people. Yes. But Jerry, you're here in the community. If somebody wants to get a hold of you and say, like, I'm not real satisfied with the way I just went to pick up prescriptions at the pharmacy, or my doctor told me that they've changed who they accept or things like that, that's a good time to call you, isn't it?
It is a good time to call me.
How would they get in touch with you, even just to run over what they've got and see if it's the right plan for them?
The good old cell phone. You could call me at 321 720-4526. I pick up all the time. You can text me also if you have a question. I can also reply back, but just calling me is the best way to do it.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing some time with us. I know it's a busy expo and you're going to get back out on the floor, but I want to remind you, too, if you're listening to us on the air, you can get information. We always publish in the Helping Seniors newsletter. The last 4 pages are what we call the Senior Services Directory. You can see it there. You can actually get it online also at helpingseniorsdirectory.com. But the idea is to get the information together so that you can really do a good job with your aging plan. So we're going to be back on the second half of the radio show in just a moment. Again, we're out here at the Melbourne Auditorium, and we'll be until 1 p.m., so come on out for the Mega Senior Expo.
Love to hear that music as we continue with Helping Seniors of Brevard on this Wednesday afternoon. I'm John Harper, a very special broadcast coming your way today, a remote broadcast. So let's get back to the show and find out what's happening exactly. Here's the host of the show and the executive director, by the way, of Helping Seniors of Brevard, none other than Kerry Fink.
Thank you, John Harper. We are just having a ball. We're here at the Melbourne Auditorium, and we're here until 1 o'clock today. This is all part of Nina Varusso's amazing Platinum Events Group. She calls it the Mega Senior Expo. Now, Nina is known for putting on the top senior expos around the county. We were just with her down in Barefoot Bay. She had a great show down in the south end of the county, but today we're sort of center county, and this is a big one at the Melbourne Auditorium. She does a couple of big ones, one here and one in November, that she calls Mega Senior Expos, because literally she's taken over the entire Melbourne Auditorium. There are so many things to see and do here. She's created this really fun, festive, aloha kind of theme, and people are coming in. They're getting, what do you call them, little floral lays and things like that. So everything is themed out. So there's a lot of fun. There's snacks. There's great things to see and do here. But one of the most important things is getting information. And so, John Harper, just like we were talking about the value and what we do in the Helping Seniors world, is try to get information in the hands of seniors that will improve their particular circumstances on everything that they're doing. You know, John, for years, although you've been a preeminent voice in the broadcast world here in Brevard County, you've also helped what we do with helping seniors literally from the get-go. You were helping Joe back in the day when Joe was trying to get the Joe's Clubs built and all that, too.
That's very true, Kerry. In fact, I remember the very first meeting we had for Helping Seniors of Brevard when Joe Steckler outlined what his vision was for the organization. It seemed like that was just yesterday, but that was more than a decade ago.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute or more, and we are really moving forward. I think thanks in part, Kerry Fink, to your direction, your guidance. The organization is really making some big strides, and I think poised for big things happening here in 2023 and moving forward.
You are so kind. I don't know, folks, if you're listening. John has faithfully served alongside with Joe, like I said, going back to Brevard Alzheimer's days when you guys were building the Joe's Clubs. He serves as our vice president. He's also on the board of directors and have the privilege of another really excellent person in the community, one of our favorite people to talk with about this, because, again, we talk about getting information in the hands of seniors that's going to make a real profound impact in their life. So I'm talking about, she's a board member, but she's a licensed Medicare insurance agent, great friend of Helping Seniors, has been with us, helping us now for a bunch of years. It's Vicki Moore. How are you, Vicki?
I'm doing great, Kerry. Always nice to be with you today.
This is such a fun event, isn't it? There's a great turnout.
It is, and it's just, it's so fun to see everybody walking around with their Hawaiian leis around their neck and, really decked out in their luau gear. So it's wonderful.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's really great, and Nina always pulls together so many great things. We have a Helping Seniors table out here. We have your copy of Senior Scene March, which we put the Helping Seniors. I'm trying to remember if you have an article in this month's or no, but you often will contribute things that help people really get an understanding, because it's so complex for us to try to navigate the Medicare world. And I've seen how you have really worked carefully to help a lot of different seniors navigate all this stuff. And like we talk about, Vicki, we always say, get expert help. It doesn't cost you, but it could save you thousands, because the things that you know and are trained and understand through the whole licensing and education process that you have to go through, not with just one insurance company, but all of these, it really puts you in a position to help somebody navigate to the best choice for them.
Right. And, just even today, I've had so many people come up and they might say, I need to talk to you. I'm really unhappy with my current plan. And, when we start asking those questions, why are you unhappy? Well, I don't like the network, or my doctor's not in the network. So sometimes people get into plans and they don't have the full information going into those plans. So it's always helpful to talk to somebody like myself that does have that knowledge and can always, check that for you. And there are special enrollment periods where, maybe there's the possibility that you could make changes if you're in a situation that's just not your best situation.
That's what I was going to ask you about. Here we sit, as they say, it's the Ides of March, right? March 15th. But, I was thinking, because we always get our mailbox stuff with all this stuff that comes in the mail about, open enrollment period. And so people are trying to navigate between everything that comes in the, quote, we used to call it junk mail. I don't mean that pejoratively, but it's what we say about stuff that comes addressed to occupant or resident or things like that. And there's all this stuff about choosing the right Medicare plan, but then it also happens every time you turn on the TV during that time, there's somebody famous that you really like because you knew them from a TV show, and they're saying, oh, you got to call this 800 number. But Vicki, you being local and seeing and knowing this territory like the back of your hand, you can see some of the problems, or I guess you're probably seeing maybe even some buyer's remorse where somebody tried this and now they're like, help, this isn't what I thought I was getting into.
Yes, unfortunately, I run into that quite often. I've got a client who, reached out to one of those 1-800 numbers. And I don't know why people continue to do that, because so many times they don't come out happy with that situation, and then they don't have a resource to call back. They can call back that 800 number, but oftentimes those people, they may be in another state. They don't know the local market.
Right.
They don't know the doctors, the networks, and they don't really. You don't have a resource to help you out when you maybe get into trouble and have questions. Whereas somebody like myself that's local, I'm always there. I mean, I'm a great resource for people. And even if you're not my client, feel free to, I'm always happy to answer those questions.
It's so funny. Earlier in this show, we had a lady by the name of Hollie Fincher, who's the sales and marketing director now over at Hibiscus, which is another one of our long-term partners with the Helping Seniors organization. And she comes from a physical therapy background. And she said almost the same thing that you did. It's like, we're here, we're local in the community. We're here to assist and help and guide you. And I guess, one of the challenges is we're in the day of the internet, so everybody feels like, oh, I'm just going to, search this online and that's going to help me. But, I don't know about you, but a lot of times if I'll search something I don't really know what I'm looking for, I wind up, A, more confused than I started with, and B, not sure what's legit and what's not. And I guess you probably hear that a lot from people you talk to who are trying this on their own.
Right. And just like you were mentioning, some, you do see those spokespeople that are somebody that you feel like you know and trust, and you feel like it's a good, safe place to call because of that. And that's why they hire those people to get them in. But that doesn't always make it the best option. And so I think sometimes people think, oh, I can just handle this on my own. I'll call that number. But it doesn't always work out to be the best. And so I think it's safer to trust somebody. I feel like it's safer to trust somebody local because you've always got that person that you can reach out to when you need help.
Right. It would seem like, if you talk to any smart business person, they have their go-to people. Like I call, this person when I need help on construction. I call this person when I need legal advice. I call this banker when I need help on that side. And it seems like a smart person really lines up those people who have the expertise. Doesn't mean you're stupid. It actually means you're smart enough to seek out the areas that you might need help with. And so, Vicki, as people call you, I've seen you be very generous with your time to help navigate through them, because you don't represent any one carrier. You really can look at it from the top view down and see what's going to be best for a person trying to solve their particular situation, whether it's doctors or medication or needed treatments or things like that.
Right, definitely. And, I've got clients that, every couple months they're like, well, I'm not happy with this plan. I'm not happy with this plan. I've got one client who seems to call me all the time. So this third time around, all I can do is offer, the best solutions possible, but it does come down to, is it going to work best for you? And luckily sometimes there are options where they can make changes different times of the year, and maybe they're not even aware of those options.
Right.
And I can certainly lead them that way. But there's no one plan that's going to be perfect for everybody, and sometimes there is a little trial and error involved, and, I just try to help them navigate that the best possible.
Right. So Vicki, if I'm going to shift gears in a moment, because I want us to talk a little bit about the Expo and some helping senior stuff too with you. But just while we're on the subject of Medicare, if somebody is like trying to map their way through it and they're struggling their way through it on their own, they ought to maybe reach out and have you help them if they're interested in getting, just your perspective on it. Because again, I've seen you go way out of your way to provide help and assistance, even if at the end of these days the people are fine where they're at or whatever. How do they reach you?
So the best way to reach me is just give me just reach out to me at 321-272-0218.
All right, say that one more time so everybody has a moment to grab that pencil.
321-272-0218.
So this is Vicki Moore, licensed insurance agent and a great friend of the Helping Seniors Organization. And we're going to shift gears because we are out here at the Melbourne Auditorium. We're out here with Nina's amazing Mega Senior Expo. And I wanted to say that, among other things, we have a Mazda convertible out here, a Mazda Miata convertible out here on display, because that is one of 5 cars that you can pick from when you win the 7th Annual Helping Seniors Car Raffle Fundraiser. This, of course, is our big fundraiser for the year. It winds up Saturday evening, October 7th, at the American Muscle Car Museum. And what a fun night that is. They were telling us someplace between 2,500 and 3,000 people were out there last year. It's a great fundraiser. It keeps our little Helping Seniors organization going. And so I wanted to ask Vicki, because you have kind of volunteered now for several years to be sort of captain of Team Mazda. Because the way this works is you get a choice of car. When you win, you could take a Dodge Challenger, you could take a Chevrolet Camaro, you could take a Kia Sportage. This year, because AJ's opening up a Mitsubishi dealership, you can get a Mitsubishi Outlander, or for almost every year we've been doing this, we've also offered the Mazda Miata convertible. And as a Mazda owner yourself, you said, I volunteer, I'll captain Team Mazda. Talk about the Mazda Miata.
So I love the Mazda Miata. If I were to win and got to choose a car, it would definitely be the Mazda Miata. And so I have been fortunate enough or lucky enough to, with some of these different events, we get to have the cars out there. So I've got to be kind of the runner with the Mazda sometimes. So I can testify it's super fun to drive. Yeah. And I'm a tall lady, so I still fit very well into that car. It's very fun to drive.
Yeah, it is a great car, and you can come out and see it until 1 o'clock today here at the Melbourne Auditorium, because we have that on display. And Nancy Deerdorf, our operations director, she's got tickets here for you. She's got your free copy of Senior Scene magazine. I think we've even supplied a door prize. People are coming out and winning door prizes every 10 minutes or so. It's a great afternoon to be out here, Vicki.
Yes, it's a wonderful event, and as you said, I love doing Nina's events. She has, she puts on a great expo and just brings out a lot of seniors and so much great information. And to the point of me being, part of the board of helping seniors, it's such a wonderful cause, which is why I'm so happy that I am part of the board. But just this morning, I had a senior asking me a question about something different than Medicare. And, you guys, we provide so many wonderful resources. And so it's kind of, I love to be able to do that. I had someone that needed help in his home. And so I was able to provide a resource, which is what we do so much with helping seniors. So that gives me, being out at these events, not only do I talk Medicare, but I get to, help provide other resources, which is really nice to do.
No, I agree. And I want to shift also just for a second before I know you've got to get back to welcoming the folks that are coming out here. But I also want to talk about something very exciting with both you and John. We just literally signed the paperwork this week. So this is kind of breaking news. We just signed our agreement. We've talked about this for a while. Dr. Delegdish with Omni Healthcare has donated us literally 5,500 square feet in his prime office building right there in that whole medical center near the hospital here in Melbourne. It's called the Omni Gateway Building, beautiful 4-story building. And he said, I want to get behind the work of helping seniors, help you guys develop this idea that you have of the Senior Resource Center Brevard. And we are so excited about that because that gives us another physical location where we're going to be able to expand some of the things we do, particularly as if you've been following this for any amount of time, there's been a lot of talk about the challenges that we're having with senior housing and things like that. So we're going to put our task force into that location. We have been talking about doing some training for seniors with technology. We've been talking about doing a lot of work that we do in terms of centering our helping seniors call line, the information line. I think Nancy reported at the last board meeting, guys, that we took 600 calls alone in January. So that's a tremendous amount of calls for a little organization to manage, but we're really excited that this opportunity is going to give us a chance to go forward. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts. You guys have a thought about that. It's really exciting.
Yeah, very excited about that opportunity. I feel like it's going to just helping seniors help more people along the way. And I love the idea of the resource center helping with technology, and it's going to be a great asset to the health community.
All right. Well, thank you, Vicki. We're kind of hot seating so we can get everybody in. John, do you have any comments? And thanks, Vicki, for stopping by.
Yeah.
We'll let you get back to the table. Thanks so much.
It was great being with you.
Yeah,
actually, Kerry, you were mentioning the new facility that we're going to be moving into, and this really is exciting news, and you're just breaking it here for us on the radio as well, and it's going to give so many opportunities to people here in the community to take advantage of what helping seniors of Brevard really does. So it's very special, and you've done a great job putting that together. We are really excited about it, and we're looking forward to the move-in day. When does that come up?
So the lease is actually effective this month. So from this point forward, we're no longer talking about it.
So
John.
I can put my desk in there.
We're trying to get there. So we are going to be organizing, and I'm telling everybody we're going to soft open April 1st officially. And that means we're still sort of moving in, getting situated. We're going to try to be fully operational by 1st of May. But you're right. This is a big deal for us as a little organization. Thank you, Joe Steckler, our president and founder, because this has been his vision since the day he founded, was to try to get this to happen. And then it was through his connections that he was able to reach Dr. Delegdish, and he was like, I want to help you guys see this vision through. And so he's literally put his money where his mouth is to make this possible for us to be able to do this. We're so grateful to him and Omni Healthcare for doing that.
Very special of the doctor to do that and make that space available to us. And it certainly makes Helping Seniors of Brevard a preeminent organization that is going to be able to help a lot more people in our community with the opportunity to have that tremendous office space in a good central location.
Yeah, it's so exciting. So we're out here. We are at the Melbourne Auditorium. We're going to be here actually until the show ends at 1 p.m. And so we have the privilege of sitting with another great friend, Diane. Diane help me, because it's a great Italian name, Del
Pizzo Zizzo.
Okay. And the cool thing is you and your husband, Harry, you have this great thing called DoTerra. And as we've talked about this in various things that we work together in, like Golden Providers and things like that, it's so important to understand how essential oils can make a difference. Talk a little bit about how you basically, I would call it, minister or explain to people the benefits of what you do here at a show like today.
Well, I am an educator, and the reason I started doTERRA 10 years ago was to get my husband off some of his pharmaceutical and over-the-counter medications. He was on 16 at the time, and when he finally stopped calling me the hocus pocus oil lady, he had an experience, and he saw that they really made a difference, and in 6 months he was off all but 5. And he has many health issues he inherited from his family, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, so on and so forth, acid reflux, and the medications were able to be either reduced or removed by his doctor because of the improvements that he saw with the products and the oils. And go ahead. You were going to
I was just going to say, we see you at so many of Nina's great events, and you guys are always out in the community. Every time we always look for the doTERRA table. There you guys are. You're smiling, and you're willing to spend time with people to help them, I guess, navigate. Because most of us, we would walk up to the table and we wouldn't even know where to begin or even what might be correct for us, but that's what your experience does, right?
Yes, so I am an educator, and people just don't know what they don't know, and they don't realize that if you're using a pure and potent medicinal quality essential oil, it will replace pharmaceutical and over-the-counter medications. And what people also don't know is whether you use them topically, aromatically, or internally, and our oils are for internal use. They get systemic in 26 seconds. So if you're using an essential oil that is not pure, and it will have toxins and adulterations, and it will have negative effects. So it really is an education process. And I do wellness consults, and it's free. I will sit with anyone and go through your medications and the things that you might be on, and see what we can do to improve your health or support you in some way.
So, Diane, if somebody wants to reach you and they're not able to make it out today, is there a way that they could call you and get this information?
Absolutely. My phone number is 321-749-9893. I am a home-based business. You can text, you can call, and I am very responsive. If I don't recognize the number, just leave me a message, and I will get back with you.
Thank you, Diane, for stopping by. I appreciate it. We're going to get a minute with Terry Stone, but while we still have a minute, because I know Terry Stone works together with Aging Matters, and I'm really thrilled that she's able to come in here, squeeze in here for a minute. We're here again at the Melbourne Auditorium, and we are here with the Mega Senior Expo. We're here until 1 o'clock today, so there's still time for you to sneak on out and at least catch the tail end. But, you know, Terry is somebody who has really devoted her life to making things better for seniors. And I wanted to ask you, because you do a lot of work with Aging Matters, but I keep reading these articles, and it's so important that we get volunteers for the Meals on Wheels program, which is one of the premier programs that so many people depend on in our county.
Absolutely. We're feeding about 1,500 people a day through our kitchen. And that's not only Meals on Wheels, but it's seniors at lunch through the congregate sites. Okay. They're the congregate sites where the seniors go to places if they're still mobile, and they can get their free lunch, and it's good socialization.
You know, and I don't think people often misunderstand how valuable this is, because not only are you providing the nutrition, but let's be honest, a lot of times it sort of serves as a well check, just making sure everything's going okay, and it's that point of contact, that human contact, that's so important in all this.
Absolutely. I was just speaking to a gentleman who was asking about volunteering for Meals on Wheels, and he was wanting to know if he had to select a day or or, if it was just sporadic or whatever. But I explained to him that if he takes a day and a route, even if it's just one day and a route, he is probably the only person that those people see when he delivers those meals.
Wow.
So we're checking. We do a well check along with the meal.
Yeah, it seems so important. Now, I was going to say, I don't know. I've seen it in the press that you guys are trying to get the word out about how important it is to get more volunteers into the program. What makes a good Meals on Wheels volunteer? What do you want to see when somebody says, "Hey, I think I could try to help"?
We don't ask for them to drive every day, but they can select a day. They can select an area. Most of the time we place them where they live, like if they live in Palm Bay or they live in Melbourne or Titusville, right. They deliver where they live and where they're familiar with traveling around.
So basically, then you're going to try to work it out in a way that's possible for somebody to do this without having to drive from one end of the county to the other.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if they can devote an hour and a half. Usually a route will take about an hour to deliver.
Oh, wow.
We have sites where the meals are dropped off. The trucks from the kitchen take it to sites like churches and things like that where they pick up their meals and then they deliver them. And usually a route takes about an hour. Some of them might take a little bit longer if they're rural, like up in Titusville and Mims, and Barefoot Bay. Barefoot Bay is it's like Grant, Valkyria, Barefoot Bay, so it's a little bit longer route. But those people live down there, and they know where they're going and what they're doing, so it works out. But that's an hour and a half for a day.
So you're not asking somebody to give like a whole day or something?
Oh, absolutely not.
How do they reach you if they say, okay, I want to learn more, maybe I could help here? How do we do that?
We have, I wish I'd have brought the sheet with me. There's a Meals on Wheels number that they call to. Okay, so I'm going to do it this way. If you call Nancy, she answers the Helping Seniors info line. If you call us at 321-473-7770. She's going to get you connected. She'll make sure that she gets you in touch with Terry Stone with Aging Matters, because we need your help to make this happen. Absolutely. And they could call my assistant, Allison, and she can get the application to them to get them, and then we can hook them up with the Meals on Wheels coordinator, too. And Allison's number is 321-631-2749.
Yes.
So call Nancy or call Allison.
Yeah, let's get this going. Let's get the drivers we need. This is so important. This is one small way that you could really make a big difference for seniors in Brevard County. So,
a huge difference. We have a waiting list of about 500 right now.
So you really could be part of somebody's next meal here. Wow, right. How important. Right. Well, thank you, Terry. I appreciate it. It's a great event. We're going to squeeze Jennifer Barton in here just before we close out the show. And unfortunately, we're like hot bunking or hot miking or whatever you want to call it. So thanks, Terry, and
thank you, Kerry,
for being here and being part of this and what the work that you do. It's so important.
It is. We keep a lot of seniors with the ability to stay at home rather than to move to a facility.
Amen. Keep doing the good work.
Thank you, Kerry. I'm going to let Jennifer come in here now.
All right. So we're talking with Jennifer Barton, who is Seniors Helping Seniors. And she is the person who she probably had to run back to her table because it's...
Ricky's here with her.
Yeah, because there's a great turnout here at the auditorium. People are still coming in. And we are here on the radio for the Helping Seniors radio show, 12 noon to 1 p.m. every Wednesday here on 90.3 WEJF. So, John, how are we doing?
Well, I think it's been a fabulous show today. Interesting guest, very interesting. A lot of people in attendance out here today.
Yes.
And it's been a wonderful experience taking the show on the road.
Yeah, a lot of fun. I get to talk with a lot of nice people.
A lot of fun. And, we're looking forward to being able to do this more often.
Yeah, and we have just a word from Jennifer Barton with Seniors Helping Seniors. She's just in time.
That's hard to have just a word from Jennifer.
To close out the broadcast. How are we doing? Are you having a good time?
I am having a great time. It took me a while to get up here because I was having such a good time out there talking to people and saying hi and hugging people. It's an awesome day.
Yeah, and we were just breaking the news on the radio about we're moving into our new office officially and getting all that going. So Jennifer, in addition to heading up her own company, Seniors Helping Seniors, has been on the board of directors with Helping Seniors for a long, long time, helping us try to do the work. So with a minute left, what would you tell people about Seniors Helping Seniors?
So Seniors Helping Seniors, we really hire seniors to go out and help seniors. We have a lot of fun. It's a great part-time, flexible job for a senior, and for someone looking for a little bit of help, it's a great match because it's more like a friend coming in.
And the phone number?
321-722-2999.
All right, well, thanks. That's the time we have for today here at Mega Senior Expo, and we'll see you soon next week on Helping Seniors Radio.
Bye, everybody.